You know, when I first got targeted, was trying to figure out why I was being targeted, and did a lot of extensive research trying to figure out because these people, how could these people have an upper hand with lies? They will tell people lies about you, and so to get people to rally and to fight because they think they are fighting a great cause. In reality, they are not. They're being misled. And they employ people to do harm to others who have not done them anything or have done anything wrong to them because they think they're battling with the wicked people. They think we are wicked. When in reality, they are being misled and lied to, you know. So I travel around the world. I've noticed things. I'm very perceptive in knowing what's going on. They use I went to Poland. I went to Canada. I went to a lot of places. Spain and Germany. A lot of places where I've noticed things they've done. You know, and they usually use like crows, you know, but I realize that they use crows are not crows are an actual crow. It's a whistle. They use a whistle or some sort of a whistle that makes a crow sound. That's how they communicate with each other. So when the person hears that, these people know what to do. They also use text. They use text through Google. They wait to receive a text through Google because they have a platform on Google, and they get the order. You could tell because this system is very calculated and wicked and whatnot. People would do harm to others when they are they believe or they're led to believe they're actually doing something good. And that why the enemy doesn't want me to talk on YouTube and their social medias and stuff and tell people. Okay, when I break things down, I'll tell you, and I find information to get my point across because I provide evidence. You understand? It's like an evidence-based support. You understand? So I'll show you the support. I'll show you the truth, right? And then you decide if I'm lying or the enemy is lying to you. That's why they hate it when I tell people. That's why when the admin from my apartment building, they don't want me telling her stuff because she's a Muslim. You understand? She's a Muslim. They don't want me to tell her stuff because she believe I'm a bad person. That's why they don't want me telling her anything. That's why in a dream they're like, oh, don't tell her this, don't tell her, And they hated it when I tell people, they don't want to be exposed. They don't want to be questioned. They don't want to be brought into this, where people are starting to question them. They don't like that. They don't like to be questioned. They like people to follow blindly. Do what you're told, and you're really doing a great thing. When they used to tell people to attack me, when people used to have a second thought, one time I heard them say, attack him. Attack him. Why are you afraid of him? When I told them I told people that they killed my mother, my aunt, and they put my brother in a wheelchair and and stuff like that, and they harm my family and stuff. And people are shocked. They look at me like hesitant, like really, like you know, because they think they are serving somebody who are holy. You know what I'm saying? They think these people think they are serving somebody who's holy, someone who does not do anything wrong. Yeah, you are serving the people who love wars, who love to hurt humanity, who love to poison our food, water, and air, and give us over medicate us, and harm our children. You know, feed humanity. Flesh. When you go and eat and their fast food, you're actually eating human flesh. You know that. Anyhow, you're gonna say, is that true? Go ahead and eat their hamburgers. You know, go eat in their hamburgers. Because these people, they're known to eat flesh. You know, because but then just when I watch this rabbi, a Jewish rabbi, he says, we're not cannibalism. We're not cannibalist. We don't eat, flesh. But we feed it to you. We feed it to humanity. He said, we made sausage breakfast and sausage, burgers and and stuff like that. They said they made it, people consume it every breakfast, and that's what they feed. They disguise meats as something else, as flesh, unclean meats. Unclean meats are, right? So that's what they do, because they get into your food source, they get into your water, they get into the air, they dousing people with chemtrails, they're feeding cattle. Do you know that they feeding cattle? Did you know that they feed cattle feeds or that is mixed with human flesh? Grains are mass produced, mixed with human flesh, right? So they process it. The way they process the grain is they introduce the meat in it, but it's because over processed, the animal does not recognize this grain is mixed with human flesh, and they will eat it. So the animal will eat the human flesh, not knowing, because it's mixed with the grain. Is the way the palate of the grain is over processed, is broken down, and they mix that into it, and then they feed it to the animals. They feed it to sheep, cows, and goat, whatever, they feed it to all these animals. It's in the feed. And then when you go and eat the animal, you are actually consuming the flesh, not knowing, because the animal eats it and you eat the animal. You understand? Yeah. So that people would not if I were a person in charge of making decisions, these people will not have access to these food resources and water and air. They would not be dousing people with chemtrails. We're not gonna feed animals this garbage. And why they do it, I'm gonna tell you why they do it. Why they feed animals that because you consume. When you consume these food, you are messing with your gut. The solar plexus is in your gut. Solar plexus is where the sun and the moon meets. You understand? Where the sun and the moon merges. The sun and the moon is in your solar plexus. And then the other place is your heart, your pineal gland, also the third, right? The crown is where all this energy meets and whatnot. You understand? So when you eat that in your stomach, you are actually cursing yourself, because God forbids eating of flesh or blood of a human beings. Shedding of innocent blood is forbidden by God, right? So when you eat it, you're going against God's laws. You understand? Yeah, that's a reality of things. So they use. I could write a book on how these people operate, how they work around the clock to hurt humanity. You understand? Nobody understands it. I've been at this game of manipulation for over 12 years. They mocking and condescending, and they talk down to me, and they, like, they act like they're around me like I'm a dumb person. I'm an idiot, But then when I say things and I break things down, I'm telling them, okay, I tell you this. They told me before that I knew things nobody's supposed to know. I knew secrets nobody in earth supposed to know these. And I knew this. So that's why they targeted me. And I made videos about these secrets that they don't want humanity to know. One of them was your soul fragment, or your soul essence is in your atoms. It's in your neutrality of the atom. There is a negative and a positive, the electron and proton. The neutron holds your essence, your atoms. It's in your atoms, your soul fragments or your soul essence, right? And also, I'm going to do a list of things that I've said they were accurate. And that's why, okay, they'll tell you, because I had somebody telling me, these people come in your life and they will say subtle hints. This person said to me, oh, you've been targeted because you knew things you're not supposed to know. So if I knew something I'm not supposed to know, you're going to target me for it? You understand? So let's say that's true. Okay, it is true. But anyhow, let's say it's true. What justifies these attacks? Because I knew something, and then you're gonna punish me for knowing. And they even tested me in the past a few weeks. They tested me to see if, like, he's gotten smarter, because I said in the U.S. and Israel, and they are creating Babylon. All these countries that Trump named, they were part of Babylon, Nimrod is the first Antichrist. Nimrod, or Gilgamesh, is the first Antichrist. He's the he's a Dajjal. Dajjal, if in a Muslim, Dajjal meaning the person who would lead people astray. You understand? So they found his tomb. Why did they find his tomb? Because they're gonna go and clone him. They're gonna bring him back because they think he's gonna fight God. He's gonna fight us, 144,000. You understand? And I said this like a couple of weeks ago. They are creating Babylon. Okay, and that's where, because Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Iran, all those countries I listed. I made a video about the countries who are actually part of Babylon, and you'll find out these countries are waging wars against them. You understand? They will create some sort of illusion of this country have something that is going against Israel or against United States or whatever, or against your United Kingdom. Because, okay, in reality, United Kingdom is the one created all these mishaps. You understand? United Kingdom created Israel. You understand? Do you see the whole picture? Even though I've spoke to friends English, they told me, well, we don't have that kind of power. We don't make these decisions. Yeah, true. What I said to my brother about United States is a federation of United Kingdom, is still under the ruling of United Kingdom. And my brother told me, I wouldn't talk like that to other people, because he told me, you sound uneducated. He says, you're really smart, you're educated. Why would you say something is really stupid like that? I know. United States is a federation of United Kingdom. It still is. You understand? And people don't understand that. They think it's a sovereign nation. It's not. It's still under United Kingdom. You understand? And that was, and then they made the English hate Americans. They hate America. They say, but they don't know. They still ruled by United Kingdom, right? And they still keeping this lie. They're keeping this lie going. They telling people United States is to be hated or whatever, because they don't care. They don't care if you hate United States or not, because they know they're controlling the shots. You understand? And then I think I put a video. I talked about this, and then this video came up. I posted it, I think. A 12 years old, who she created a family tree of the rulers or the presidents of United States, on who they're related to. And apparently all the presidents of United States are cousins. You understand? They're all cousins, except for one. But they're all related. You understand? I talked about this, and then somebody else created a family tree. Who's it related to? So I tried to show that to my brother, and my brother goes to me, yeah, anybody he could say whatever they want. It doesn't mean it's true. See? That's a problem. And that's a problem where people are, they believe in lies. They believe in lies, and because my brother, a very educated person. He's a university professor. Actually, all my family members are all graduates, university graduates and whatnot, but they don't understand what I'm telling them. When I told them my mom they're trying to kill my mother, they didn't believe me. My family did not believe me. They were trying to kill my mother, you know? And then when they went to Canada and they saw everything I said to them, it was true. And then my sister said to me, "How did you know? How did you know that what they were doing? We didn't believe you. We did not believe you. This is what they were doing to my mom." And they realized what I was telling them was true. And they're like, "Oh, we're not sure if we like Canada anymore. We used to like Canada because my dad liked Canada. My mom and dad, they liked Canada, you know. But then these people who like Canada end up being murdered. You understand? Understand? So my beef with Canada for playing along or for harming my family. You understand? That's something that's not going to be forgiven. Okay? It's not going to be forgiven. So use your crow's whistle, whatever crow, the way they communicate to people, whatever. I know what I know. Okay? I know what I know. I don't need anybody to explain it to me why things are done. My mom and dad and my aunt, all these people were killed because of our DNA. You know, they killed them because of their DNA. They wanted their DNA. You know, and that's what they're doing because they're trying to create. If you watch the movie I Frankenstein, they're telling you it's in that movie. Go watch it. I Frankenstein is about creating, Satan, or you know whatever his name is. Anyhow, he's creating an army. You understand? And the gargoyles are the dragons, are us, the 144,000. We're having a war with the gargoyles, having war with Satan. Satan is obsessed with DNA modification or DNA editing. You understand? Because Satan is using our DNA, splicing it with his army, if you will. He's trying to create this perfect army to fight us. Isn't it that what Babylon is about? They're raising this Gilgamesh or whatever. They're raising him from the dead. They're splicing his DNA with us to give him power and to give him all this. Because Gilgamesh, apparently he was a warrior. He's a warrior. So they're raising him. They think he has a chance of winning. I don't think he have a chance of winning. But hey, they can raise an army if they want. Okay? But I know I made the right decision when I said no, I'm not joining you guys. Wow. 12 years later, I made this decision a while back. 2014 or 2013, I can't remember what it was. And today, 2026, and I realized that I made the right decision, you know? Because I studied these people. I studied these people, what they're all about. And I realized that joining them is a mistake. That's why I never hesitated. When I said no, I stuck to my gun. I did not budge, or I did not reconsider. I did not even have a second thought. I made the right decision. You understand? And I fought for my right choice. My decision was the right choice. It's my free will. I exercise it. Even though is if I'm going against the grain, against the social norm, what people consider as normal, I consider it is a violation, you know, of God given, choices, the laws of the universe. God created all these laws, the commandments and all of this. I am not gonna allow people to impose their beliefs on me. Okay? Their beliefs, it does not affect me in any shape or form because I'm gonna exercise what God given me. You know? God is a sovereign being. When God giving me free will, giving me all this, freedom and stuff, I'm gonna fight for what I believe, you know? So these people can lie to these people working for them all they want. Okay? They can lie to these people all they want. I know the truth. And I know these people are employing criminals. And I already explained, they're employing criminals. Anybody who has a case in the past, a criminal case against them in the past, they promise these people to make this case go away if you participate in this program against us. Target this person, we'll make sure this criminal record goes away. We're gonna wipe it out of the system. You understand? And some other people are participating because they are getting paid. They are getting paid. Nobody does anything for free. It's not free, you know? People participate because they are getting paid. Okay? And I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue to say the truth and then to say why we've been targeted. We're targeted because of our DNA, because we are Satan's enemy, the fallen angels, the Archon, Anunnaki, They go by different names. They're all the same. They're all the same beings that were fighting. You understand? They are the legion, what is it called? They are kingdom of jinn, They are what God mentioned, and he talks about the 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 olive tree okay, God talks about the olive tree that does not produce. What do you think God is talking about? The God is talking about the abomination uh, of uh, of creation. This race is never meant to be created. Eve and Yaldabaoth having children. These are the children of Yaldabaoth and Eve together. You understand? The race of the giants also are, yeah, they're, these ones they have a problem with humanity. They are nothing but wrongdoers, if you will, and they do not care about you and I, They only care about themselves. It's very self-serving. It's all about them, And it's all about them, and to keep us under control, And when you refuse, and you exercise your free will, you become an enemy of the state. You just remember that. Yeah. So that's what's going on. And I'm going to continue to explain, the weapon there, the way 444,000 guys, the way you fight these people, with logic, with proof, with truth. It's easy. The internet is very, broad and open to a lot of things, but then you be able to prove it. You can, because okay, the world is awakening to a lot of stuff happening to us. They cannot keep this lie going. They can continue to tell people like we're criminals, we're mentally ill, we did this and we did that. They can spin a lie many different ways, but this lie is not gonna stay intact forever. It's gonna crumble. It's gonna crumble. This is the way it is. The truth will always prevail. And these people who have done you wrong, they cannot get out of this, because these people who harm you, either for money or for to get their records scrubbed or whatever motive they use to justify attacking you, will be held accountable. You understand? They'll be held accountable because God is fair. Universal laws are there for they are there for a reason. What God has made it clear. He says only sins against God will be forgiven by God. If you sin against God, if you say something against God, only these sins can be forgiven by God, right? But if somebody sins against you, you're the only one who can forgive this sin. You understand? God would judge what you've done to somebody else. If that person says, I do not forgive you. If that person says, I forgive you, then it's done. God's not going to judge it. You understand? But if the person stayed adamant and he says, I'm not going to forgive you for what you've done to me, God will judge that. You understand? That's how it is. That's why they continue to punish you. They continue to punish you because they think, oh, I'm going to raise the white flag. I'm going to say like, oh, stop beating me. Stop beating me. Oh, enough. I forgive you. No, you won't get it from me. You will not get it from me. So don't hold your breath. Otherwise, you're going to die, turning green and stuff. Do not expect it. It's not going to happen in a million years.